Well, hi there. I'm AJ Carey from the future, the mostly host of Killing 15 Minutes, and welcome to the new YouTube channel for Killing 15 Minutes. And yes, we're starting our new YouTube version of the podcast at the very beginning. The editing and audio have been tweaked as best as we can from the original broadcast to try and better the audio quality, and because I'm the one editing it instead of Sam. We also have the benefit of added visuals over here, though we can always make them better if you become a patron over at CareyOn Productions Patreon. More on that at the end of the show. But let's cue the theme song that didn't exist back then, and let's get into the rough beginnings of Killing 15 Minutes. Enjoy the show.
Due to the graphic and disturbing nature of the crimes discussed, listener discretion is advised. Retrostatic Radio presents Killing 15 Minutes.
Hello and welcome to Killing 15 Minutes, where you get your true crime fix in 15 minutes or less, or your podcast is free. I'm your writer, Sam Rossi, and shortly I'll be handing over a rough draft of a script to my brother, AJ, who hasn't read it, who's most likely has no idea what we're talking about. This should be fun. Good luck, bro.
Thanks, Sam. Let's see if we've got it this time. The Dusseldorf Monster. The Vampire of Dusseldorf. I'm putting an asterisk there because this is my seventh take on this, and guess what?
He's not a vampire.
He's not a vampire. We'll get to that. Peter Kurten, or Kurten, Kurten! There we go! He's German! Is Kurten! Was criminally active from 1899 to 1930 in Germany, although that was criminally active and not murdery active.
Correct. He was criminally active. He spent a lot of time in the joint.
The joint?
The joint.
The oldest of 13 children, he was born in 1883 to an abusive, alcoholic father and mother. Growing up, his father was definitely a very big proponent to his negative outlook, I think might be the best way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Because he was emotionally, physically, sexually, and mentally abusive. He was truly he was a stereotype of what's a terribly abusive dad.
Yes, I agree.
When Kurten was 4, he tried to drown a playmate. At 8, he befriended the local dog catcher, who enjoyed torturing and killing the animals he caught, which again really helps solidify a nature versus nurture kind of a scenario. And this really started Kurten befriending petty criminals. Later on, Kurten would actually claim that he made his first kill at 9 years old with the double drownings of his schoolmates. However, police at the time ruled these deaths an accident. But then again, if he's 9, especially, in 1890s, no cop's going to be like, oh, sure, why am I having an Irish cop in Germany?
Wow!
Oh, sure you drowned him, you weirdo. I don't know why I'm here. There's an exchange program. A nice cop named Adolf went over to Ireland. Said something about potatoes.
Potato.
In 1897, something that would definitely also really trigger Kurten, and this might actually even include some of his more sexually frustrated moments later on, was that his father actually went to jail for the rape of his 13-year-old sister. That would be Kurten's sister, not his father's sister. And you can kind of see this where both would tie together because, well, Kurten was into bestiality snuff. And that's all I'm going to say on that matter, and I don't want you elaborating. Thank you.
I appreciate that. It was sick. Next.
Now, his real criminal enterprise, petty crimes, really began in 1899. As stated, he was criminally active, but the murders were later on. He was actually arrested in 1899 for breaking and entering and theft. However, he was only sentenced to 1 month in prison for that. In 1904, he was actually drafted into the Imperial German Army. And just remember, this is before the unification of Germany. Any of them.
And they still had a monarch.
Did they?
That's why it's the Imperial.
Oh, that would make sense. However, he did quickly desert and then took up arson to alleviate his sexual needs. I like fire, but I don't understand the sexual thrill of burning down something.
Fire.
I understand the pretty nature of burning down something.
Yeah. Fire fun. Not that much fun.
But hey, I'm not going to kink shame.
Nope.
Did anyone die in these fires?
Not that I remember.
Well,
it's possible.
Well, then I might kink shame. If someone died during it.
But he liked to watch far away while it happened, so who knows?
He was then arrested on New Year's Eve of the same year and sentenced to 8 years in military prison this time. And then in 1923, he moved to Dusseldorf, where he would become the Monster of Dusseldorf, with his wife. He moved there with his wife. His wife wasn't part of the monstering. However, it was here his affairs with said wife actually led to him being convicted of seduction and threatening behavior in 1925. I'm assuming seduction is from the affairs.
Yes, his wife charged him with seduction because he was
seducing other women.
And the threatening behavior is because he liked to strangle those women.
And they didn't like it?
He made them believe that it was what you do when you're in love.
I've had weirder things. 6 months in jail, and he stayed quiet. And so he got 6 months in jail for seducing and choking out bitches. And then he stayed quiet until 1929. And this is when his real reign of terror would happen. Basically, he had a year of killing. He started his reign of terror in February of 1929 with the scissored stabbing of a woman. Yes, his first kill was scissoring a woman to death.
But a bunch.
9 murders and 7 attempted murders later, in which he actually changed up his MO by, switching from a knife to from scissors to a knife to hammer. It's pretty much whatever he could get his hands on at the time.
Basically.
However, he was finally captured because, as many people do, it's surprising how many serial killers actually do this. But he was actually captured because he started writing letters to taunt the cops. And this was in May 24th, 1930, is when he's actually caught. Because of ego.
Ego.
Hubris, I believe, is a better phrasing for that.
Yeah.
Now, he pled not guilty by reason of insanity due to his claiming bloodlust at the time, and not being able to stop himself from mutilating his victims who ranged in age and sex. However, after 2 hours of deliberation, on April 22nd, 1931, he was found fully guilty, completely sane and guilty. His last meal... Still love that you put the last meal in here.
You know what? They gave me the last meal. I'm going to give you the last meal.
That's fair. Maybe there's a secret to his madness in this last meal. His last meal was Wiener Schnitzel, white wine, and fried potatoes.
Potato.
He also did have 2 helpings, and then his last word was no, which I assume is, hey, would you like a third serving?
No.
No. And on July 2nd, 1931, his head was removed from his body. That same head, though, was later sent to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum in Wisconsin. That's actually a really fun fact. Think it's still there?
I would assume so.
I actually got to look and see what's still in the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum.
True.
Because that's its own really neat curiosity cabinet.
It is.
The Dusseldorf monster was sick. He was sick. He enjoyed mutilating his victims, but there's not enough facts for him to be a vampire. Now, we do think that he got off on murder, but not the blood. And I think that's actually a really good point to make. Do they call him the Vampire of Dusseldorf?
They call him the Vampire of Dusseldorf because supposedly, according to him, he would drink the blood of his victims. However, there was no
evidence that corroborated that. Like, he mutilated, so there was blood loss, but there wasn't
it's not like
the Vampire of Sacramento who would inject blood into himself.
Yeah, and eat his victims.
Yeah, it was one of those major things where it's like...
Where there was enough evidence to show that he was vampiric. There's not enough evidence of the Dusseldorf monster being...
Now, I actually want to ask you this question, Sissy. How much of this do you think was mental health versus nature versus nurture? Like I brought up wicked early.
I think he was a product of his environment. I do,
because the dad being an abusive son of a gun would easily give him a lack of empathy towards other people.
Right, and he was, I think, 14, 15 when his father went away. So it's 15 years of abuse that he witnessed on top of everything.
And just because his dad went away, after so long, because of the rape of his 13-year-old daughter, that doesn't mean that it wasn't happening before.
Right.
And with the way his father acted, it could have easily been, maybe he did feel that the threatening behavior he had with the mistresses
was love.
Was connected to love.
Yep.
Hey, I like you. Clearly, I have to strangle you. I know many women who are like that. Weird. Well, who like being strangled, not...
I understood what you meant. But it's one of those things that...
Dude had massive daddy issues. And then having a friend being the dog catcher...
Who would show him an outlet.
Who would normalize... I think that would be the better way to phrase it.
Yeah.
He's getting this very negative home life, which is, desensitizing him from...
violence.
Showing... yeah.
Probably desensitized him to violence, which helped him be able to kill animals.
Well, I would say it was a lack of empathy. Because it's one of those things where it's like... I know that this is actually a really good school of thought for a discussion. Not here, probably. Or at least not long-term here. Where sociopathic behavior... While there is, chemical imbalance of the brain that can do it like that, a lot of people say that it's actually part of the nature. Like, you don't get a lot of sociopaths who had the white picket fence happy childhood. No,
but you do get them where they have the chemical imbalance that, schizophrenia. But,
well, I wouldn't count schizophrenia because, sociopathic behavior, can come with schizophrenia. I would say that...
It's still...
I would say that is under schizophrenia versus under... But I'm just a sick puppy.
It's true. But what it is that I see that there are serial killers that have been normalized.
Right.
But there is, a lot that I'm finding that have the abuse, or there is more outside forces than just inside their head.
Right. And that's what I mean, is like, he sees how his dad treats everybody, so that makes his brain go, this is how it's that learned behavior of why parents should at least be a good role model for their kid.
True.
Because then their kid understands this is how the world works, and then they're able to better integrate with society. But if you have, oh man, the world is just my dad, beating and fucking everyone. And then you actually get a friend in the dog catcher. You're already showing these because if he did murder, led to the drowning of two of his friends, his classmates, suddenly he doesn't see any one of his peers as an equal to him.
Nope.
But then you have an older gentleman. I'm assuming he's older just because dog catcher...
I would assume so, that he was, yeah.
I mean, I'm not thinking he's in his 50s or anything, but I don't think he's the same age.
No.
He's older. He is technically in a position of power. And he starts going, oh yeah, this is what I do. So then all of a sudden he gets that outlet. And he also, it normalizes, that life doesn't mean anything. I'm actually surprised that he didn't seem to kill his mistresses.
Yeah, I was shocked by that too, but I think he actually enjoyed it too much that...
They were submissive enough that it was...
I think it fed his
power...
his power control that he wanted. Which would make sense on how he would kill people with power and control.
Yeah, no, that actually makes a lot of sense. So, any finalized things you'd like to say about the Monster of Dusseldorf?
Nah, he was just a sick puppy.
Well, next week, we'll actually do a real vampire.
Yes, we will find you a real vampire, brother.
I'm AJ Carey.
And I'm Sam Rossi.
We have no final sign-off here, so...
Later, guys.
Deuces.
Killing 15 Minutes is hosted by Arthur Carey, with scripts written and researched by Sam Rossi. If you like this episode or want to stay updated on this series, consider following Killing 15 Minutes on Patreon or Retrostatic Radio on all major social media platforms. Good night and God bless.
Keep on carrying on.
CareyOn. Because
CareyOn Production.
Don't you just love that sibling energy? And hey, if you made it to the end, leave a comment about where you first heard about this case, and I would say give us some suggestions for what you would like to see covered, but we are currently over 150 episodes ahead on the podcast. That means you can listen on Spotify, Apple Music, Goodpods, Spreaker. Basically, if there's a spot to listen to a podcast, we're on it. So you can comment, but it may have been done already, or you have to wait a couple years until it reaches YouTube. And please, like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff that appeases the great algorithm. Plus, Sam and I have a bet on which of our shows is going to have the best YouTube release, so let's bump up those numbers. If you can support us on Patreon, please do. We have one tier right now. It is a $5 tier where you can get access to us with communities, all of our unedited episodes, and even some surprise episodes of shows like Overkilling 15 Minutes. Plus updates on when we start doing merch drops, new shows, and whatnot that will all go to the Patreon first. Please also check out the main CareyOn production channel for the show Blanking 15 Minutes, Playing Over 15 Minutes, and a few others, plus our sister show, Mything 15 Minutes, where I write it and Sam reads it on all things urban legends, folklore, and even some conspiracy theories. That is also being brought to YouTube right now. And by right now, I mean it comes out tomorrow, if you're watching this the day of release. I'm AJ Carey, and more than anything though, thanks for killing 15 minutes with us today.